For all the chemists out there working away in the laboratories, stories of alchemical transmutation. First delivered to March 2003. But what's interesting is the last story. The others are a bit old, boring. But the last one is very interesting. The final short quote I will give concerning this subject is not about the transmutation of metals, from silver into gold, but is about the rejuvenation of man by the Elixir of Life. The Elixir of Life is a medicine made usually by dissolving a tiny portion of the Philosopher's Stone in wine. This following quote is especially interesting because it was paraphrased from a correspondence I entered into a few years ago with a man who had ingested a crude form of this elixir. These are his words on the experience. Ta-da! I had produced this transmutation agent about 5 years ago. To look at it, it was a rose red liquid. At first, transmutation held no real interest for me, as I was concerned only with discovering the elixir of regeneration. So I decided to ingest some of the preparation by taking 2 drops in about 150 ml of white wine. Almost immediately my body started to get warm and I started to sweat. Within 2 hours I had become so hot that I had to sit in a cold bath of cold water for fear that I was going to pass out from the fever-like temperature. But a few more hours later, not even cold water was enough to cool me down, and I had to fill the bath with ice. At this point, I became very afraid that I had done something very, very stupid. I didn't have much ice in the house, and I had no idea how long this was going to last. 12 hours later, my temperature was back to normal, and I hoped with relief that all the effects from the medicine were completed. It took too strong a medicine. Exhausted, I went to bed and discovered that the effects were far from over. But I discovered that when I closed my eyes, I could see through my eyelids into the darkened room. After about an hour of anxiety, I felt as if I was drifting off to sleep, but strangely, I did not lose consciousness as in normal sleep, but remained fully aware as I slipped into the waking state, into the dream world. That night of sleep was the greatest education of my life. Not only did I understand exactly how sleep worked, but during my dream state I found myself being talked to by a small group of men who recognized what I had done and described in great detail how I could chemically improve the method I had discovered for producing my elixir. From that night to this, although I have only ingested a few drops more of that elixir, I have never again lost consciousness in sleep. Over the next few months, I decided to carry out the instructions I had obtained through those strange dreams, and they proved to be chemically accurate, resulting in my producing an agent that is vastly superior to that which I made by my own means. Over the next few months after that first ingestion, I lost what remained of my grey hair, and it grew back thick and black, as it had been in my youth. I also discovered that I had gradually developed the ability not only to read minds, but also to put thoughts into other people's minds. This whole development concerned me greatly and caused me a lot of anxiety. As you know, I have had no previous occult study, and my reading on the subject of alchemy, although wide, obviously suffered from my not believing many of the spiritual claims the old alchemists had made about their work. The result of these experiences I have described to you is that nowadays I live a reclusive life, avoiding contact with other people. I have not seen many of my old friends for many months due to the fact that as the elixir affected me more over time, my behaviour and appearance altered greatly, and other people began to notice this and ask questions I could not or would not answer. In closing, I should point out that the author of this letter had no formal study, as he said, in the occult at all. His background was in electrochemistry, and he had become interested in alchemy about 15 years ago, but his reading on the subject was limited to a few popular texts. His isolation from the mainstream of alchemical research meant that his eventual success was obtained through totally unorthodox or untraditional methods. The original rose red elixir he obtained produced 3 transmutations of copper into silver, of silver into gold, and of silver into uranium in late 1999. Private correspondence from Jerel, March 1999. So, as we know, making the elixir of immortality, the Philosopher's Stone, it's only a 3 test tube problem. You make the red lion, the green lion, and then you combine the red sulfur with the juice of the green liquid. And that's the great work, which takes, 9 months to make the sparkling red sugar. It looks like sugar because I've made it myself. I made it myself. I came top in chemistry. I made it myself in 2011 using Robert Koch's book, The Elixir of Immortality, which came out in 2009. But I came top in chemistry and I had a lot of time on my hand because I was looking after one of my relatives. So I was able to try it, and I was able to make a very weak form of the sparkling red, sparkling green elixir of immortality. I took it as well, and but mine was very weak. It was weaker than this guy's, but when nothing happened. I didn't burn up or anything. I didn't have a fever or anything. But what happened was, when I went to sleep that night, I shut my eyes. I saw a golden light. It wasn't black as normal. I saw the golden light. And I can easily have vivid dreams. Like he said, you don't lose your dream. You're in a dream state when you don't lose consciousness. You're always dreaming. You have these vivid dreams. So I agree with him. But it's just that he took a lot stronger, more potent version of it than what I did. It's extremely difficult to make, even for someone like me. I've made it once, but I won't be able to make it again. It's just so extremely difficult to make. It's a 3 test tube problem. The green lion's dead easy to make. You can make that in 3 days. It's the red lion, the colloidal gold, that's extremely difficult to make. If it weren't for that, then it would be quite easy to make. And such is the life of a chemist. That's why you should always come top in chemistry, because you never know what you might be able to do. Or you can use phonon resonance to transmute silver into gold. I've also done that. That happens at 43 degrees C. It's a lot lower, and you can create aluminium into gold at 297 degrees C. That's it, running out of time. Interesting.